and welcome back to the Theatre Thespians. I'm your host, Dinny Dinsdale. Right now in the studio, I have Michaela Hawken, who's an actress, and she's also directed a new play called The House of Cards. Hello.
Hi, how you going?
Good, thank you for being here.
No worries, thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasures. So tell me about, you're an actress.
Yes.
And a director.
Yes.
Tell me, oh, well, you are. Tell me a little bit about the play House of Cards that's coming up.
Yeah, well, it's a contemporary performance. I've never really directed anything before, but I've been involved in a lot of contemporary performances, and I really like the style of it. Basically, you just sort of start with a piece of stimulus. It could be a quote or a book or an object or anything, and using the people who are in the show and their life experience and their stories and everything, you sort of create themes out of that and stories and scenes, and then sort of collaboratively put a show together.
Oh, wow.
So I heard this Radiohead album one day and was just like, this is an amazing album, I'd love to do a show off that. So yeah, now here we are, putting it on.
How long did it take to get it all together?
Well, it was it was really tricky, really. I've been doing it since about February, but just one rehearsal a week, because I hadn't had a date booked in to perform it yet. And so I just thought, I'll just get a group of people together and just start doing stuff, you know, just start rehearsals, see what happens, see what comes out of it. And so much came out of it, and it was really great. But then it sort of got to a point after maybe 6 weeks or something where I realised that if I didn't book in a date to perform it, then it would just sort of fade off, I suppose. And I needed to, lock the performers down and make sure they had a clear end date and a clear rehearsal schedule for the rest of the time. So I just went, all right, let's do it, booked it in for a date, and then went, we've got to get the show ready by then. And
wow.
Yeah, so it's coming up next week.
Awesome. And how many people are involved in the whole show?
There are 5 of us.
Mm-hmm.
I started with a whole group of friends, and then, as I said, because there wasn't a locked-in date, people left for different reasons and whatnot, but 3 of us remained the same, and I got two people who I didn't know who just came and auditioned with me, and joined it sort of halfway through, which was really interesting because it added a whole new scope to it. With this particular type of theatre, it's so dependent on the people you have in there and where they've come from, their backgrounds, their experiences, their stories, where they are in their life, and so getting fresh people in halfway through really sort of revitalised the show, and yeah, it was really cool.
Oh, so it's got a lot of strong messages about love and life. And
Yeah. We used the lyrics from the album as sort of read them as poetry, I suppose, and drew themes and symbols out of that. Hence House of Cards, because that's one of the names of one of the songs. The album itself was called In Rainbows, and I originally called the show In Rainbows, but when we started going through it a couple months in, I was like, there's nothing about rainbows in this show. It's all about cards, and we're using all these playing cards and stuff, so I was like, I think I need to change the name.
Yeah.
But yeah, symbols came out of the lyrics, and themes we're looking a lot about impermanence, how everything changes and everything ends, and relationships, a lot about relationships and how things change within relationships with people, not just lovers, but also family relationships, mother-daughter relationships, everything in life changes.
It's one thing we can be sure of.
Exactly,
hey?
But that's
yeah.
kind of an oxymoron, because the only thing that's permanent is impermanence. So
yeah.
we began by just talking about it and talking about different stories we had that was related to that theme and about our past relationships. It is a lot about love, lovers' relationships, but. Yeah, talked about that and started eventually getting up and creating scenes out of that. So.
Awesome. So it was a lot of improvisation, and you came up with a lot of gold.
It's very playful. It's very playful, and because we've got it's an album that we're going off, so we had the lyrics and we just chatted for a month, 4 rehearsals or something. It was just a big discussion, and all these ideas and other pieces of stimulus came up, oh, have you read that book, or have you seen this movie, or blah blah blah. And then eventually it was okay, right, let's just get up and start doing stuff based around this, and put on the music and just sort of played for ages, and every now and again things would come out and we're oh, that was really cool, let's create that into a scene, and putting in different props and things like that to work with, and it's a
awesome.
really interesting process.
Yeah, that sounds excellent. And how long is the play?
I'm not sure. It's actually not 100% finished yet.
Oh,
we've got the outline of what it is, but we haven't run it from start to finish.
Well, you don't want to peak too early, hey,
No.
until the night.
Exactly. We've still got a number of rehearsals, so I'm sure it'll be fine. But I'm thinking it's probably going to go for about 45 minutes, I'd say. I was hoping it would run just like the entire length of the album, but I'm kind of putting this show on as like a work in progress, like this is where it's at, and get some funding for it for the event that I'm holding, like off the door and stuff like that, so that I can do another creative development later in the year, maybe for another month or something, with some money, and actually put it onto a more professional stage. Because now we're doing it at an old church hall in Barton, which will be really awesome. But it'd be really cool to get into a professional theatre maybe early next year and have it run a lot longer and be sort of have better equipment and media and all that kind of stuff that I'm hoping for later on. But I need money to do it, so...
I know, it makes it difficult.
Yeah, exactly.
So I like to ask everybody this, though.
Yeah.
What inspired you to get into the creative fields, like to be an actress? Was there something in your life that changed everything for you and realised it's what you wanted?
I don't know. I always loved performing. I was always on the stage as a little girl. I grew up on the Gold Coast and there really wasn't much down there, so I was just involved in as much as I could. And at school I did drama and just loved it. And then I got into an architecture course actually at uni and was like, oh, I should do that. You know, it's solid money and a good income and, you know, a really well-respected job. So I went and did some work experience in a friend's architect firm and just was like, oh my God, I don't think I could sit in an office like every day for the rest of my life. So I deferred and went with my second preference, which was drama.
And went with your heart.
Yeah, and my parents were like, what are you doing?
No!
And I was just like, I don't care.
It's like the thought of just being stuck into a 9-to-5 job, though, and not following what you really want. It's depressing.
But it was weird because I put drama as my first preference and then architecture, and for some reason I got into the architecture course over the drama course. So I was like, well, it's a sign, that's what I should be doing.
Yeah.
But then I just realised, like, no, I've got to do what I love doing, and I haven't regretted it.
Excellento. I'm excited. Michaela, can you please remind me again of exactly who's going to be on there that night?
Yeah, sure. I'm trying to make it more of like an event that people who don't usually go to theatre come to, so I'm trying to put some music and circus and stuff into it. So I've got a solo singer who's amazing, Hannah Macklin, playing. Also DJ Tiger Moth, who's supported like MF Doom and a number of really big acts. And Rob Adams is going to be debuting his one-man show called Why Plants Are the Worst, or Plants Are the Worst, I think it's called, and a band called The Lingerers as well. And there'll also be some roving circus and little circus interludes throughout the night, and like just events like ping pong and stuff like that. So it should be a bit fun.
It's going to be massive.
Yeah, be cool.
Well, thank you again.
No worries.
I had to keep you here just for a little bit longer. Sure. Thank you very much. And that's the end of the show this week. But please stay in touch next week and I'll be here. I'm not going anywhere.